everyone. Welcome to the Bible Belt Bros podcast. Today on the show is not about fantasy football.
What?
And everybody goes crazy.
This is boring. I'm going home.
Actually, we do have one of our best bros, or I don't know where you'd classify you in the rankings of our bros, but
I consider you guys best bros. So if you don't put me in best
He's
bros,
definitely
that's offensive.
He's definitely a best bro.
You are guys I text.
Okay.
Stupid things too.
Stupid thing.
yes, stupid things. Many memes have been
If I need
texted.
something stupid, I go to William's texts.
So William is an entrepreneur. He is the founder of the podcast Digital Marketing Lab.
Yep.
And I have been a guest on that podcast. So if you want to hear a good one, just skip to that podcast. And
Andrew,
then-
have you been a guest on that podcast?
I have not.
Huh. I've invited you.
No, you haven't. Unless you invited me through Dusty, and Dusty didn't give me the...
No, remember I said, hey, I want you to come on and talk about being a successful home salesman.
Let me pull up our text.
Andrew
'cause I do
has
not
what
remember
they
this.
call short-term memory loss due to
remember?
his time in Afghanistan. And therefore, I even have to remind him.
I have not followed up on it,
Okay.
but I did throw you an invite.
All right, I will have to look at this.
I have to remind Andrew that we have a podcast about every week. Like,
He
hey,
does.
That's incredible.
you're the one that set Tuesday as the day to record the fantasy football podcast, yet I'm still having to remind you Monday night that you are
Wow.
coming over.
I made him remind me... he reminded me 45 minutes early this morning.
I think that's actually Fortnite brain.
No.
When I game a lot, my mind just goes to
I
crumble.
haven't played Fortnite in about 2 weeks. So you can't say that.
What?
I don't...
I'm
play
about
Fortnite
the same.
much.
I haven't played Fortnite since the last time Carson was here.
Yeah.
So
You guys bought the new game, the Red.
Call of Duty? No, Red Dead Redemption? No.
I have not gotten that game
No.
yet.
I don't like to just throw my money away like that.
Huh.
I work too hard for it. So I don't. By the way, I just scrolled through it. I don't know how many, and I didn't see the invite.
Do you remember me asking him?
I don't. I remember you asking me, but it was like the day of. You're like, bro, I'm already at the church. Come over real quick and do a podcast. So anyways, what is your podcast about for those who are listening?
So the Digital Marketing Lab is a leadership podcast. We talk about all things IT. We talk about search engine optimization, web development, being leaders, being business owners, and then just the whole journey. We interview a lot of business owners, business planners. We interview people that are good at what they do.
Oh, thanks.
And that's about it. It's 10 to 15 minutes. It's a real short one, and we stick to the point, unlike other podcasts, but that's about it.
And I kind of like the
Wait,
length.
what are you insinuating, William?
I kind of like the length of your podcast as far as it's not overly explaining things, because you also have a business that helps people with those things.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just
So
explaining the need
it's short. He likes it short.
Huh.
That's what he's saying.
for it. It's all about the motion in the ocean, Andrew. As long as his content is good, his podcast is good. It doesn't have to be very long. Like you can go 45 minutes. No, it's all about.
But quickie.
Where am I right now?
He's a quickie podcast.
Get in, get done, get out.
So, William, you're an entrepreneur. I've known you from before the Digital Marketing Lab. You've had many other
Hats.
side projects, gigs. I mean, you've hosted car shows and planned car shows. You have a snow cone stand that's really highly successful in this area. You have your website hosting, your content creating with Photoshop and all that kind of stuff. So what do you do?
So I look at myself as a business coach, and I also look at myself as somebody that leverages search. But how did I get there? I got there through the same journey that you guys went through. I had to I first got a degree in business, and then I went into teaching. And I went into teaching because I was a musician, and I wasn't making any money. I made a bunch of albums, put them on iTunes. And so all along I was trying to be a business owner and had one foot in, though. And so a lot of times you've seen me multiple hats. It's me having a foot in different places. And so eventually I was able to put 2 feet into Harper's Hut Shaved Ice. And then I was able to put 2 feet into my agency, Nozak Consulting. And so what do? I own a shaved ice stand, and there's 6 locations, and most of them just pay me rent. But what I do 24/7, 365, because that is a seasonal business for the most part. It's only about 9 months out of the year. I run an agency, and so we build websites for businesses that are new and existing, SMBs and enterprises. And so mostly we've worked for people that are doing $200,000 to $300,000 a year. Typically, our product's a little bit too expensive for that. We do try to work with that because we have a heart for those individuals. But usually we're working with businesses that are in the 1 to 10 million a year, and we're creating websites, web presences, PPC campaigns, and we're leveraging search, Google, Bing, Yahoo, and that's what we do all day long. I've got a team of 4. I've got myself, an SEO analyst, I've got a web developer, I've got a graphic designer, and I've got an SEO copywriter, and we all train together and we all grow together. Rarely will you see an individual beat a team, and in this case, this team that I have is growing to be quite powerful, and the contracts just keep rolling in, and they get more fun as we go, and that's where I'm at now.
Has it always been success for you? Has it been ups and downs? Like, what is the life of an entrepreneur like?
So I think when you ask that question, it really depends upon your own paradigm. And so I am a glass half full type of guy. Oftentimes a glass is full. Even in bad situations, I'm looking for a full glass. And so I've tried to stylize my life after the toy maker. I grew up in Tulsa, where they talked about the toy maker's dream, and so I've tried to model my life. If I just be a creator and create things, a lot of times those things, they'll have some success and then they'll fail, or they'll have great success and then they have more success. And so what I've found is if I've modeled everything that I'm doing and I continually create, there's always been green fields in front of me. Yes, it's a 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of approach. But what I find is if I model my life like a creator, I've always found success, and I've always been able to grow, learn, find new people, and use those new parts and that new designing technique in my own models to refine my processes and my strategy and get better and meet new people. And that also aligns with America. We're grown as entrepreneurs. The best life here is create jobs. And so I've lined myself up with because I believe there's a creator. I've lined myself up with the toy maker, and I'm also doubly aligned with our culture. Our culture is built for people to build successful businesses. So I feel like I've got 2 trump cards in my hand. Has it been a straight line? No. I believe I know people that have straight lines to success. I have been a sailboat tacking. I've had to tack to my success, and I actually wanted it that I would have wanted it that way. I wouldn't look back and say I want the straight line. This tacking that I've had in my life has been very, very fruitful, and it's helped me develop as a man.
Is it one of those things that like sucks while you're in it, the tacking, and then looking back now you kind of seen how you grew up? Because for me that's kind of how. Like, I started a business with 0 experience of business and 0 experience.
In my basement.
Yeah, in Andrew's basement, because I was basically homeless, and he had to, like, help me. I had no experience. I was always a reserved person, but now I had to become this, salesperson. I had to have conversations that I was uncomfortable with to try to get people's business. And I look back now, and as hard as that was and as many hours as I put into that, I look back now and like, wow, I'm a completely different person because of that experience, and I probably wouldn't have recognized the success and the hard work if I didn't have that experience to come along with it.
I think that there are parts along the way that are more painful, and what I find is the most painful parts are attached to the parts that have the least cash flow. And so I think when you have more cash flow, the pain gets a little bit
bearable.
It gets more bearable. And luckily for me, I had a spouse when I finally did jump. I had a spouse that worked, and so that That
too.
made the jump palatable. That made it where we could pay our baseline of bills, continue our lifestyle, whereas I could reinvest and grow the business. And it took, I mean, Harper's Hut that whole time from 2014 when I jumped out of education, and I was working 2 jobs, making $70,000 a year, Monday through Friday, 8 to 3, free dental, cheap insurance. Did not have Obamacare. I don't even know what that is. And so, I had a good life, but I had an MBA. So I knew I was teaching people, but I was teaching the wrong people. I took all those skills. I took them, and then I developed Harper's Hut. That whole time it was painful because even though we were cash flowing and it all made sense, it wasn't enough to really, offset the bills and put my wife's, stop using my wife's money to set our life up. Mm-hmm. And so I think the painful parts are more attached to really bad learning experiences, really bad models that don't have the ability to scale or cash flow. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about scaling to millions. You don't have to scale to millions to be successful. But as soon as you have cash flow to make it make sense, and you've got your hierarchy of needs met, your bills are paid, you've got food on the table, you've got money to help yourself and help others, I think that pinch becomes a lot easier for me. When I've had cash flow, the pinch didn't matter.
So in those tough times, pinch times, how would you cope? How did you get along?
I had to encourage my wife a lot, like that it was going to work out, that everything was moving in the right direction.
Encourage or lie?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. Yeah. No, because I saw a clear path. And so I just you need those people to be bought in. And so while my wife and my dad, before I ever jumped into Harper's Hut, I got both of their blessing, and they both said, do it. We're back. We're going to back you. You guys have seen my dad. He's built the buildings, rebuilt the buildings, fixed the buildings, improved the buildings. You've seen how invested he's been in my business. Same thing with my wife. Watching, after I started my business, the very next year we had a child, and then a year later we had another child. And so no longer could I work my snow cone stand from 12 to 9 and leave my wife to watch our kid from 4 to 9. That was just going to ruin my marriage. And so that was not a fair ask. And so you don't ever want people to carry more rocks than they're built to carry. And so if I'd put that rock on her, that would just not work out for anybody. And so I've had to do some salesmanship, some convincing, and also show proof. And also I've got the degrees. I've got the people around me that see my work ethic, see how hard I'm working at it, see how convinced I myself am. All of that has made it easier. And then, I think that's all been my soup. Everyone's soup is probably a little bit different, but the people I've surrounded myself are a part of it. And I think it's a big combination of things. I've been very blessed to have a lot of good mentorship, a lot of good friends. And I'm not out horsing around. I'm not out drinking at the bar at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I do love drinking, but I'm not out wasting my time. So my wife understands that my obligations are family first, grow this business like I set out to do, and then I've had her encouragement and her backing.
She's not seeing you out there just having all the fun of the business.
She acts like sometimes I am all. I work downtown, 36 degrees north. I've got some teammates down there too. I have a blogger that's located in the UK, and we talk on the internet all the time, every day. And so I have a decentralized model, but I ride scooters every day. And so she has been getting on to me lately for having a lot of fun.
Yeah, those new Lime scooters.
I ride them every day.
I've seen your pictures.
Every day.
Tulsa just came out with these rentable scooters,
rentable scooters
for downtown, and people are going crazy.
I was going to bring those to Sand Springs. Somebody said they would never work. And then they were there.
Well, there's more than one company that does that, right?
Yeah,
you can invest in another company and bring
I
them.
wasn't going to do scooters. I was going to do...
the bikes?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bikes break down a lot more. I actually
We're not
researched
trying to
those
start a
myself.
business right now, Andrew.
Yeah, you are. Want to do it?
I might be game.
Is this a handshake agreement?
Just a verbal.
This is verbal. Yeah.
Just a nod.
So let's move back into business, because the reason I brought you here is your faith is one of the things that guides you. One of the things that kind of, like you said, you're you're creating. One of the reasons is because you have a creator, and I think that we're all kind of built to create. It looks differently. So, question number 1: do you think owning a business and running a business, can that be somewhat of an act of worship?
I think anything can be an act of worship. Playing Fortnite and getting really good at it is worshiping Fortnite.
Well, no. Okay.
But if you're making money to support your family...
Not even that. So here's what I do. I'm going to actually go off on that just a little.
God.
So I did, I have the 1,200 viewers or followers on Fortnite.
Number drop.
Go ahead, plug yourself.
There we go. I don't play Fortnite as much anymore, and I don't stream as much, but I was a positive player. So I did use my worship with God to influence others as a positive person, and give them an alternative rather than go and watch, say, someone like Myth who is always cussing.
Always cussing, always negative, always trolling. There's just a lot of...
So your interaction with the community was a positive. Yeah,
Right.
so I think that's huge. I think that's huge.
I chose not to. I could have monetized my stream. I chose not to monetize my stream because I don't want people to feel obligated to pay me or to give me money.
But you're monetizing it right now. What
I'm
are you
not
asking for?
I'm not asking for money because
We don't get money on this podcast.
I'm not
You know
putting...
that, right?
I'm not
You're not
putting
being paid right now.
I'm not. Wait, what?
Yeah, you're not getting paid.
I got paid in a really delicious cup of Chemex coffee. And
There you go.
I feel very adequately compensated.
So yeah, I'm not going to put my. I'm not going to say I'm not going to, because sometime in the future I might. But right now, I'm not going to monetize my stream.
Yeah, okay. So back to the question. Do I think running a business is a form of worship? I think being the best you that God has created is the form of worship. And so I look at humans built in 3 different ways. I look at a business in 3 different ways. There are many different ways to look at a business, but if you consider this. At the beginning of a business, there are no processes. You're in a jungle. There are no roads. You have to create processes. You have to do things that no one has done before you. You have to take chances, take risks, and sometimes they pay off and sometimes they don't. And so when you do these things enough times, some roads appear, some dirt roads appear. And so the people that were good in a jungle are not oftentimes good on those dirt roads. They're not good with processes. So oftentimes we have to get rid of those people that were good in the jungle and get new people that are good on dirt roads. Well, dirt roads eventually turn to cement roads where we have processes and we don't want people getting outside the lines of our roads and our processes. And oftentimes those people that helped us get through the dirt roads aren't good on pavement, so we have to usually get rid of them. And so I find that all 3 of these phases of a business also are ways that you can define humans. Some people are really good in established businesses. Some people are really good in businesses that are establishing. And some people are really good at planning and establishing those businesses. Wherever you're at, working for an established business, working for a business that's almost established, working to create an unestablished business, there are places and ways that you can do that as worship unto God. And that's just by one, being diligent, being faithful, being the best you that you can be, being a lifetime learner, having integrity, and then just leaving the place better than you found it. Wherever it is, wherever you found it, find a way to leave it better, leave it with more value. To me, that's the greatest form of worship.
And then also it could be business as a ministry as well. And this is kind of where I've struggled because I want to help people. And one of the things, like I made T-shirts was my main business. And so tragedies happen. People want memorial shirts. That's one of the things people go to. And so I would have people come in and, their best friend died of cancer. He just wants one T-shirt. And all my models in tracking of orders show that I am losing at least $50 making this T-shirt.
Yeah.
Because my business isn't set up for that kind of printing style, really.
Like a one-off type thing.
Yeah, we're not set up for that. Our company has grown to the point where doing one-offs, we'd have to do so many of those to make it worth it. And so, but I still find myself doing that. And then now you get to the point where I can't turn anybody away, because now I'm picking and choosing whose tragedy is worth helping out and who's not. And then, so, I mean, I've done models, and I work with my company. We were working twice as many favor orders that were making us no money and actually losing us a lot of money over the half the amount that was most of our sales for the year. And so it's just been a struggle, like, for me, like, how can you run your business as a ministry yet still help people?
So I think that, Andrew, you probably could have some insight on this too with what you do, but here's my perspective. I own two businesses, Harper's Hut Shaved Ice and Nozak Consulting. One is an agency to businesses. One is a place where my mission is to get people and families out there to hang out with one another and stay connected to one another. So what I've done is I have a policy there. If a kid drops a snow cone, they get a free one. Just give it right to them. Don't ask. If they want something that they thought that they paid for and they didn't pay for it, give it to them. It doesn't matter. And here's the other thing that people don't know. If their credit card declines, don't say anything about it. Just give them it. And so that's because my mission has been built into that being a place for me to give to other people. That's been my way to stay profitable and also at the same time be able to give to people. And so that's why we've done a lot of events, a lot of free snow cones, giving $10,000, $15,000 back to organizations each year. My agency's a little bit different, and it's at a different place in its timeline. I can't give free websites away. I can give good deals to people or deals that I normally wouldn't, if I can align with what they're trying to do. At the same time, we're super busy. We have well-paying clients that need their things done so we can add new additional well-paying clients. So I think in this business, I have my hands are more tied on how I can give. There are things I can give, but I'm talk to these MSPs daily. And so there's also a timeline of clients. So you're going to grow your business oftentimes off of clients that you give a lot to. And then eventually businesses want to go from $3 million a year to $5 million a year. Well, then they have to flip that switch and say, look, we can no longer give these things. We now have to charge for those things. You may have to flip your clientele. So it depends, like where you're at with the business, how you can be giving. I think you can be giving without giving away, without giving away free. You can be giving by giving your very best, by giving a product that you know has all the T's crossed, all the I's dotted, and that you have given a complete project to somebody for the money they're paying. To me, I would be more inclined to negotiate with that person and say, look, I cannot give this to you, but what I can is I can give you my best work. And so that's been more of my gift. I can relate in regard to your shirt design with my snow cone stand. Somebody comes up and runs a $9 order on a credit card that just declines. That's kind of painful. That's a big order. That's like, maybe 2 mediums or 2 or 3 larges. But still, I have my employees that they know if it declines, it's on us. I'll pay for it.
So, Andrew, when we go get snow cones,
how would you relate that to being a house salesman? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's able to give some shirts away. I mean, you can't give a home away.
Right. No, but what I can do, and what I do, is I offer discounts to veterans. I cut my commission.
Exactly.
So I take less money for veterans so that they can afford the house or that they can get into the house. And I do that on the selling side and the buying side. And, obviously I can't give a home away. I would love to. And I can't give my money or all my money away because I have fees that I have to pay also to my broker.
Have a wife.
Right. And then I have a family that I also have to support.
And a daughter.
Right. I mean, you can discount yourself. I wouldn't discount yourself too much. But at the end of the day, give them your best. That's really the best you can do.
Well, and there's also the if people want going out, your time is probably what you give the most of.
Right.
I give lots of time.
Going outside of your normal hours, your family time to help somebody.
Time is so valuable.
Time
My
is
industry is $100 to $300 an hour. So people don't realize that, is that I regularly get paid $100 to $300 depending upon what I'm getting. So when you invest your time, you know what I mean? That's a huge investment.
Right.
I think he's still trying to get paid on this podcast, so we better cut this short.
I saw those Hershey bars.
Shut up.
So far, we're at $50.
I laughed earlier because Andrew's tapping my stomach because, by the way, I just went to the doctor and he's like, "There's no easy way to say this, but you're obese." I'm
You're fat.
You're obese.
like, mother trucker. Yeah.
I mean,
so-
William, technically you're obese.
Technically, I'm obese.
Everybody's obese. Yeah, but do you weigh 150?
If you're 20 pounds
Yeah.
over, you're obese.
Yeah, I'm obese.
You know, so
For
it's
sure.
it's
It's all
it's-
muscle, though. I mean,
Right,
yeah,
but you're still.
yeah, sure.
So that's it.
yeah.
Speaking of
This
that,
belly is muscle.
speaking of that, when I was in the military, there were a lot of guys. I mean, the guys with the bigger necks never had problems, but there were a lot of guys who were like, 3% body fat, but they're obese because of the muscle. So yeah,
It's a combination of your height, which I'm really short, so I have
right. It's your height,
I
your
have
weight.
a negative.
Then you have to pass tape. All right, William. So let's go ahead and start wrapping this up.
Yeah,
All right.
'cause
So
we cannot afford you.
right, we're already at $50. We clearly cannot afford this. So so go ahead, give us your information. How can people find you if they have questions?
Well, you can contact these clowns and they can find me, but the easy way would be to just go nozakconsulting.com, William at nozakconsulting.com. You could contact Andrew. You could contact Dusty. You could contact me directly. I'm pretty easy to find.
Spell your last name.
Yeah,
or
some
spell
say
that.
Spell Nozak.
Nozak.
Okay.
Nozak.
So Nozak consulting.com.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Check him out. He's done a lot of work around here for me included. So he does a really good job. But also he's just a really good guy. So go like his podcast. Go give him some listens.
Digital Marketing Lab.
Digital Marketing Lab. We'll catch you later.
Take it easy.